We're on. Okay. Okay. What's your first name?
Daniel.
Daniel? What's your middle name?
Ray.
Is it Raymond?
Ray.
And your last name?
Boggs. B-O-G-G-S.
When were you born, Dan?
5/27/67.
And today is the 23rd.
Yes.
My wife told me I better remember tomorrow. It's our anniversary.
Uh-oh. You're definitely getting the doghouse.
Oh, man. And so let me ask you a few questions here. Dan, you told me your name was Daniel Ray Boggs, and your date of birth was 6/25.
5/27/67.
How did I get that? 5/27/67.
67.
Okay. And what is your address?
It's 14901 Lick Run, Lyra, South Webster, Ohio.
And what is your occupation?
I'm a correctional officer at Southern Ohio Correctional Facility.
How much education have you had?
I've had my high school, I've had a vocational trade school for drafting, and I did 2 years at ITT for computer-aided drafting.
And what is ITT?
Institutional Technical Trades.
And what are your parents' names? Your father's name?
My father's name is Robert Ray Boggs. My mom's name is Sandra Jean Woods.
Woods is her maiden name?
name.
Okay. And as to your father now, do you know his parents' names?
Yes.
What are they?
L.J. Boggs and Opal Boggs.
L.J. That's your grandfather's name on your
Yes.
father's side?
Yes.
And what was your grandmother's maiden name?
Ramsey.
Ramsey. Now, as to your mother, her maiden name was
Woods.
Woods. And what were her parents' names?
Her mom's name was Eunice, and I cannot remember my grandfather's name because I have no recollection.
Okay. Now, are you married, single, divorced, widowed, separated, or all of the above?
Happily married.
Right. And what is your spouse's name? What is your wife's name?
Cindy Joe.
Cindy Joe. And what is Cindy's maiden name?
Shepherd.
Shepherd.
Yes.
What are her parents' names?
Claude Shepherd and Sharon Shepherd.
What is her mother's maiden name? Cindy.
Collins.
What is it?
Collins.
Collins.
Collins or Collin?
Collins.
Okay. Collins.
Yes.
All right. And do you have any children?
No, sir.
And now you were in the Navy, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now did you join? Were you drafted? How did you end up in the Navy?
I joined the service back in, it was March of '85, went in active service August 25th of '85.
Okay. Where did you join at? In Huntington or what was
Down
the
here
deal?
in Portsmouth.
In Portsmouth?
Yes.
And why did you join the Navy?
Because I want to go out and experience life and travel, and Navy was the most branch that you could really travel in without being stuck in one spot for more than 2 years.
Now the date that you entered was when again?
August 25th, 1985.
And when were you discharged?
Officially discharged was August 25th, 1993.
Okay. Now are you in the reserve component or anything? Now when you were discharged, what was your rank?
E5.
E5. What was your MOS? What did you do?
I was a gunner's mate. I did 5 years on board the USS New Jersey, which is a battleship.
Yeah.
I did 16-inch 50 cals. It was a 3-gun turret. I was center gun captain.
Oh, okay. Now, where did you do your basic training?
San Diego, California.
And after, how long was your basic training in San Diego?
I believe it was 8 weeks.
After that, did you have any additional AIT or advanced
I went
training?
to sonar tech school, and then cross-traded over to be a gunner's mate.
You went to what school?
Sonar technician.
Sonar.
Yes, I
technician.
did about 7.5, 8 weeks in sonar tech, then I cross-rated over to be a gunner's mate
And where did you do that training?
on board the battleship New Jersey.
Okay, so you trained as a sonar mate on the New Jersey.
No, I went to school for a sonar mate,
Okay,
and then I got out of that and transferred to the USS New Jersey.
I see.
Became a gunner's mate.
Okay. Now, was that the only ship you were on, the
Yes.
New Jersey?
I did do some temporary assigned duties to the USS Wadsworth, which is a fast frigate,
Mm-hmm.
and I did some base work in Long Beach
Mm-hmm.
Naval Station in California,
Okay,
mainly just space security and shore patrol.
okay. Now, when did you get married, by the way?
September
Uh-oh.
3rd, 1994.
All right. Okay. And so you were in the Navy when you got married, or?
No, I got out of the Navy.
You got out in '93.
Got out in 93, moved back to Ohio, and
Got married.
got married the following year.
Now, you were on the New Jersey, and where did you go on the New? I mean, when you went on board, was that in San Diego when you?
No, the ship was stationed in Long Beach, California.
Okay.
In '86, in May of '86, we went overseas for our first Westpac. We went from Hawaii. We hit 3 ports in Korea,
Mm-hmm.
Japan,
Mm-hmm.
Thailand, Philippines. Was our first trip. Second trip, we went the same ports, but we also added Australia in there for 2.5 months.
Hmm.
We added Guam in there. And my last Westpac was the same ports, and we hit Singapore, and then we did a part of Desert Shield
Hmm.
down in the Persian Gulf.
Okay. And when was the Desert Shield thing that you did?
It wasn't technically all the way in the Desert Shield, but I was in March of '90, I believe.
Okay, March of '90. And
Because that fall they went in the war.
yes. Was the New Jersey part of the Persian Gulf War? Were you in
No,
that?
it was not part of the Persian Gulf War. She was decommissioned February 9th, 1991.
Okay. And where were you when it was decommissioned?
I was right there on base watching. It was beautiful.
Really?
It was sad at the same time.
What base was it that?
Long Beach Naval Station.
Where's the ship now, New Jersey?
She's probably close to Richmond, Virginia right now, being towed up to New Jersey for a final
That's
rescue.
right. I believe I read that in the news that they were going to be taking it to New Jersey. Where? Trenton, maybe, or?
I believe it was
Something.
Trenton. The 4th of November, she's supposed to be pulling in the harbor.
Oh, well. Are you going to go over and see it?
I got the 4th and 5th off. I have to get back with my friend. He's supposed to swing down, pick me up, and we're going to go out on the boat and watch it pull in.
That'll be something, won't it?
Yes.
Your friend, he was on there too?
Yeah,
Okay. So you traveled a lot on this ship.
we traveled quite extensively.
Sounded like mostly in the Pacific area.
Yes,
Is that correct?
Pacific, some Indian Ocean, but mostly in the Pacific. We did go up in '86 into what we called was a Sea of O. It was at the main body of Russia, then the peninsula kind of comes out around. And it's called the Sea of Oshkosh. I'd have to look at a world map.
Mhm.
But we did go up in there. We was the first U.S. battle group in that area.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, during the time you were on the New Jersey, was it in combat at any time?
No. The only time we came close is when we pulled in the Straits of Hormuz into the Persian Gulf. There were Stinger missiles on both sides of the straits.
Could that have taken the ship out, you
No.
think?
Could not.
What makes you say that?
The armor on it was so intense. I mean, the armor was so thick,
Mm-hmm.
it just couldn't.
Now, your position, you manned a 50 caliber machine
No,
gun?
it was a 16-inch 50 cal gun itself. I can crawl through the barrel.
Oh, it's that big, 16 inches diameter.
Diameter.
Oh, is
50
it one of
cal.
those turret
Turrets.
in the front or the
Yes. You had 2 turrets in the front, 1 aft.
back? Mm-hmm.
You had 4 5-inch mounts on port, 4 5-inch mounts on starboard. Twin 5-inch.
And you were the
Center gun captain and turret 1.
turret one. Does turret one start right at the
very front.
first? Okay. Are you actually inside the turret when
Yes.
this is firing?
Yes.
And what's that like?
Actually, it's pretty neat to see because the recoil is so slow, you could almost go out there and kiss it as it recoils back about 6 feet.
Oh.
The ledge I would stand on, if I was to step 6 inches one way, I would drop probably 18 feet down the pan deck.
Hmm.
And we had a rammerman, we had a cradleman, the gun captain, and below was a primerman.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever the gun had fired, after 3-gun salvo, you see the recoil, or at least you hope you do. And then you hit the release button, it comes back up on 5 degrees for load. You step out on the platform, you'll drop the breech down.
Mm-hmm.
The breech is about 34 inches thick,
Hmm.
just the breech.
Hmm.
Once the breech was down, I gave it all clear excuse me, all clear signal that everything was discharged.
Mm-hmm.
I shut off the air, then I have the cradleman lower the cradle, the rammerman then rams in the projectile. For a high capacity projectile was 1,900 pounds. For an armor piercing was 2,700 pounds. That was just the projectile itself. Then we dump out the first 3 bags of powder. Each bag of powder is 110 pounds each.
Mm-hmm.
First 2 go forward, next one goes back. The next 3 will then roll down. Then there will be a slow ram going in. Once it's been rammed in, the cradle comes back up. By that time, the primerman should already put a new primer inside the firing lock. The primer itself for the 16-inch 50 cal was about the size of a 30-06.
Hmm. You mean the shell of a 30-06?
Just the casing of the shell.
I see.
It was about 2.5 inches long, probably about the size of a kindergarten's pencil.
How is that ignited? Electronically?
Electronically. There's an electronic hammer that fires. If for some reason it does not fire, like on a hang fire,
Mm-hmm.
they'll try it again from Fire Control Central. If that does not fire again, it is then done electronically from the gun turret's, the chief station. He would
Mhm.
try it. If it does not do it then, you do it by percussion. Try it twice on percussion.
How do you do the percussion? You hit it?
There's a lanyard you pull back. Instead of electronically making that hammer drop, it'll cock it back and fire like the old muzzle loaders.
Oh. Have you ever had a hang fire?
Yes.
And how did you finally get it to fire?
Pulling the lanyard, doing percussion.
The old-fashioned
The
way.
old-fashioned way.
Did you ever have a hang fire that never fired?
No.
Has that ever happened?
Yes, it has happened in another turret, and what you do is after you go through the procedure and the primer still does not go off, what they will do, they will eject it by opening the firing lock. It'll kick that primer out. They'll have a net that will catch it. Then he douses it into like a 30-gallon container that holds water. You
Mhm.
drop it in there, put a new primer in, seal the lock,
Mhm.
send it back on signal, and then they'll try to do it electronically again.
Did that work
Yes.
the time? Okay, so there was a defective primer.
Right.
That's interesting.
Most of the ammunition that was still around for the 16-inch 50 cals is
Mhm.
from the 1942-43 era.
Hmm.
It has been repacked and resealed.
My brother-in-law worked in above Louisville on the Indiana side. There was a place where they sent turrets of battleships and they refurbished them and everything like that. And I think he worked on the Missouri or one of those, you know.
That was our sister ship.
And inside the turret, he found photographs from 1943, 44, where sailors would stick a photograph of a girlfriend or wife up there, you know, and find all that kind of stuff. You know. Did you find any of that kind of stuff in that?
I found down in the catacombs below the turret where people had wrote on the walls. Like John Smith was here, 9/27/68. And
Interesting.
just little signatures and little sayings.
Yeah, interesting. Does it get hot in a turret, or?
It did down in the Indian Ocean, down around the Persian Gulf. It did get real warm, mainly cold, because once it still gets cold, it takes so long to get heated back up.
Okay.
So it's like when we went up around the Aleutian Isles off Alaska, when you're like 20 degrees outside and all of a sudden you pull into Korea and the temperature there is 50. The guns just sweat, and stainless steel, you can see rust just running down it.
Interesting. Well, now, did you bring back any souvenirs from all of these places that you went?
T-shirts, hats. I bought swords when I was in Japan. Some cork that was cut out in Japan for my mom and her husband. It's probably about so big.
Piece of cork.
Well, they cut it out and made a village out of it.
Oh.
Everything was cut out of one piece of cork. They had the Japanese style houses, the trees, the little bitty animals. In Hong Kong, I brought back China for my mom, my grandma, my stepmother, and myself.
How did the people, when you were on leave, Liberty, in these ports, how were you treated?
Pretty good.
Okay. Did you ever have any bad experiences with the native people?
The only bad experience I'd have to say was pulling into Japan. The people there did not like the battleship because we were classed that we could carry nuclear weapons.
Did you have nuclear weapons? Were you allowed to say?
As they said, I can either confirm nor deny the presence of any nuclear weapons.
Well, that always sounds like a yes thing to me whenever I hear that.
We had. I believe we did, but I wasn't with the missiles.
Now, have you stayed in contact with any of your friends that you?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And how many? I mean, do you have reunions and things like that? Do you get together? Or?
The New Jersey does have a membership, which I am with. I've never attended any reunions yet because most of them's been like in Denver, Colorado, or back in LA, California, or Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
But you will be going to New Jersey here with your buddy.
I'm hoping that he can swing by and pick me up on the way.
All right, good. Now you you went. Sounds like you went all over the place. Did you go to Tokyo and Singapore and Hong Kong?
I went to Singapore, went to Hong Kong, but Tokyo I stayed outside of I'm trying to remember what that port was called. Sasebo, Japan is where he pulled into.
Now, did you have liberty in these towns?
Yes. We was advised when we was in Japan not to leave the base because during the time they was having a small disturbance.
Oh, they were. Okay.
Yes.
Now, you weren't married at this time.
No.
Right? Okay. So, what does a single sailor do on liberty?
Oh my.
You want me to leave? So you can tell the truth?
Do you have any tattoos?
No, I do not.
Okay.
No.
Well, you go see historical sites, don't you?
I have, yes.
Yes, of course.
I did go to, I'm trying to remember the name of that. Remington. Is it Remington? There's a rod and reel factory in Korea. It makes a lot of the fishing rods and reels here for the United States, and I did go to the factory there.
I see. Because you're a fisherman.
I love to fish.
And now, what's the best thing that ever happened to you while you were in the Navy?
Got to travel.
The travel.
The travel. I love the travel. Take that back. The best thing that happened to me was I was the first gun captain, gunner's mate, to fire the 16-inch 50 cal after the ceasefire from the Iowa blowing up.
Oh.
I was the first one to fire.
Oh, I see.
In fact, our captain came in with the executive officer and the admiral into our turret and told my chief to have center gun, 5 rounds, continuous load. And I was like, wow.
That's you.
That was me.
Were you in the Navy when the Iowa blew up?
Yes,
now,
I was.
Iowa was, see, that was 87?
It was
Something
80, late 88, early 89.
Yeah.
We was on a firing mission off the coast of California.
Were you with the Iowa then?
No, the Iowa was on the east coast and we was on the west coast. We was getting ready to do a firing mission, and we was getting ready. There's an island called San Clemente, which we fire at, and we was already in battle stations. We had our ammo loaded, powder was up. All we had to do is have the word go. Then all of a sudden the captain came on and said, you know, let's have a prayer of silence because the Iowa just blew up.
I bet that was a traumatic time, everybody.
Yes. In fact, my former weapons boss on board the ship was the chief investigator
For the incident.
for the incident.
What did he determine caused that? Or did he? I understand that everybody's really determined.
Nobody's really determined. There was rumor that they was doing experimental rounds. The gun was designed for 6 bags of powder, not 5, not 7. And there was chances of that. I think because when you unload the bags of powder out of the cans. There's 3 bags in each canister.
Mhm.
They slid out. They're slid back in. Because you always get out 2 extra rounds per gun. So you got total of 12 round or 6 rounds per turret.
Mhm.
So if you don't fire them, they're slid back inside the container. I think friction built up because all the cradles was all made out of brass,
Mhm.
which does not cause friction.
Mhm.
But the canisters was made out of a, not exactly aluminum, but like a lightweight tin. And I believe static electricity had built up, and probably when it got rammed into the gun.
Mhm.
Now they said the rammer might have rammed too hard and caused the explosion, but no.
Mhm.
Because I've seen the films where they rammed it as hard as they could, the bags broke open, pellets came out. That was it.
It didn't blow up.
No. They even showed the bag being dropped from 100 feet. Didn't even blow up.
I think there were, how many sailors were about 40 some, weren't there? A lot of guys.
37, 42, it was up there.
Well, what's the worst thing that ever happened to you while you were in the Navy?
Being stuck on board ship and not able to go to shore because of the storm.
What storm?
It was summer of '88. Was outside of Busan, Korea. No, Busan, Korea. We was anchored out, and a storm came in. And the barge that was tied up alongside of us broke loose, and being stuck on the ship where you couldn't get off.
Was the ship imperiled at any
No.
time?
No.
What's that like going over the ocean in a ship of that size? Can you even tell you're on the sea?
No, you really can't tell you're out there. The only time that I hit rough water was up around the Aleutian Isles off Alaska. And for a ship of 887 feet, 11 inches long, it rocked it. You know, we was 58,000 tons empty. That's without food, water, ammunition, fuel, personnel. 58,000 ton displacement.
Wow. Did you like the service?
Yes.
Have you ever been back to any of the ports you've ever
No.
visited? Did the military change in any way?
It made me mature, got rid of my wild side,
Uh-huh.
calmed down.
Okay. Did you graduate from Southwestern?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And when was that?
1985.
85. And to your descendants that might be watching this 100 or 200 years from now, you have anything else you'd like to add?
Stay in school, get a good education, enjoy life.
And go in the Navy?
Any branch of the service. If you want to travel, Navy.
Cynic Airman. Just get down there beside him so they can see you.
Okay. This is my sweetie.
Okay, there you are. You're going to be in the public library too.
Oh, thank you, Johnny.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Let's see here now. Yep.
Did you catch that?
Catch what? Oh, I don't know. What is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, we got that.